Welcome back. This is the third episode of this series. I was just talking about how Atom was the God of creation who formed man and woman from the soils of the earth by uttering his conception through the words, the seeds of life, which became semen or fluid. And this is part of the manifestation process of taking something from nothing and putting into words and then forming it into a reality. Now, the time of creation came to an end. And then the time of war fell upon Egypt, the lands of Egypt, the lands of Cush. And this is where the native man was challenged in a new direction. He has a new brother. So the first phase is when men walked with God. And God, the overseer, which hovered over the waters in Genesis 1, became the Lord God who walked. They heard walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And they hid themselves, Adam and Eve, from the presence of the Lord God. Now, Adam was cursed out because he listened to his wife. And Eve said, "The serpent beguiled me." Of course, beguiled was switched out and the word deceived was later used, but what we don't know about the serpent is that she is the eye of Ra. She's Wajet, Urias. And she is the divine feminine goddess of creation, God's counterpart. This is the reason why Genesis 1:25 it says, "Let us make man in our image." Right? According to our likeness. See, people don't question these days. We've taught not to question. Who is us? Who is our? This indicates plural, two, making this one. We only acknowledge the Father in Genesis. This is the reason why in Matthew's, the New Testament became a matriarch, right? The father of Christ was hidden because of his African origins. This is the reason why it says, "Out of Egypt I call my son." But he was mixed, right? His mother was a Nazarene, and he shall be called a Nazarene. So these two ingredients are in the same chapter for a reason, because he's a mixed breed. This is the reason why he said, "I'm the root and the offspring of David." The bright, which is the white, and morning star, which is the dark star, the binary star system, which the pyramids are aligned with, the Orion belt way. In the pyramids, the Greeks renamed or the star constellation Sahu, Orion, and the towers of Kemet, pyramids of Babel. When you stand outside of the pyramids of Giza and you listen, you'll hear the languages of the Abrahamic. You'll hear the interpretations, the translations of all the different languages of the world, from English to the French, Italian, German, Russian, predominantly Arabic, Mandarin. All these voices in wonder and awe of the ancient master builders, the sons of men, that black fertility god. The nation of Adam, the God of creation, were eventually subdued, right? In the story of Genesis, it says that the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Well, this is a manipulation of the translation, right? We know the rib that was taken from man and made into a woman. It's not the key to life. But at the end of that chapter, that verse that Christ quoted in his response to the Pharisees in Matthew 19:4, he said, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." You see, when they become one flesh, the mother is superseded by the father, right? And so she takes on his last name. She takes on his name. So in the story of Genesis, we're supposed to be assuming that there's a mother somewhere. But where's the mother? And what I'm telling you is that the serpent goddess, known as Wajet, or the Eye of Ra, is who she is. This is the reason why in chapter 3, verse 6, it says, "So when the woman saw the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes," saw, eyes, and the tree desirable make one wise. You see, that third eye is wise. Saw is the first eye, pleasant to the eyes. She saw the tree was good for food, saw that it was pleasant to the eyes. You see, that second eye, and the tree desirable to make one wise. That's the third eye. That's the eye of Ra, wise, wisdom. She took of its fruit, the fruit of wisdom, and ate. She consumed the fruit of wisdom. She also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves covering. And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. They were in a plantation with trees, livestock, resident labor. The garden was watered by the river. It says, now a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it parted and became 4 river heads. Only the Nile River fits that description. But Adam and Eve sewed fig leaves together and made themselves coverings. They became creative immediately, self-seeking a solution to a problem, which had to do with the genitals, the difference between the male and the female, and also their ability to procreate and the woman's ability to nurture. See, this is what's covered: the womb and her breast. Whereas a man's genitals, his ribbed nature, which life comes from and enters into the serpent, the mouth of the serpent, which we call the womb. And so this is the reason why the Eye of Ra has inside her womb the sun, because there the son, the heir of the throne, the heir of the lineage, generational wealth, goes in through the spirit, just like the god Atum uttered the words of life into the earth. Man utters the seeds of his lineage, his DNA, into the woman, the mouth of the serpent. And for 9 months, for a cycle, life cycle, right, the seed develops within the womb. And then it's regurgitated through contractions beyond her control. So this is our root, right? Our connection to the divine creator, which makes us like God. But we can only be that together. That's part of the contract, social contract given to us by nature. So this is the reason why it says that what God has joined together, let no man separate. This is words of Christ, Matthew 19. He's alluding to Genesis 1:27 and Genesis 2:24. When he says, let's just go to it, right? Matthew 19:4, where it says, have you not read, he who made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So in his answer, not only is he saying, have you not read, which is the Genesis, that's what we're analyzing now, but he bridged these two controversial verses because, again, the female, the divine mother, the Eye of Ra, the serpent goddess, has been hidden. The goddess has been taken out of the serpent, but her seed was capitalized to let you know that she has the knowledge of God. This reason why in chapter 3 it says, now the serpent was more subtle originally, but it was changed to cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And this is because the translator want you to think of the serpent in a certain way, in a way which they determine, rather you determine, from the activities that occur in the story. So instead of you figuring out on your own, they use a word like cunning, right, to give it a negative connotation, right? And so